Oh, good call. Is it working now?
Can you hear us now?
Kim, you saved us! What terror thinking we could have ended up on live television without sound. I did that 2 weeks ago for 15 minutes. I started the show and I sang 2 whole songs before I looked at my phone and realized there was no audio. So I just redid the whole thing again.
Exciting day. You know, this has been a really interesting day to
be alive.
I hope everybody's keeping their head out there. We know these are, I'm going to say it, unprecedented times. Yes, unprecedented.
How about you just say they're unprecedented?
Well, yeah, unprecedented as well, you know. I mean, that would be nice. That would be nice. I'm in an Article 25 mood myself, you know, or all sorts of different things.
If you're watching, where are you watching from? We are taking the month of January off. We're not doing any live streams at all except for the Wednesday show. So we're gonna have to make you want us again.
It's the gazebo.
So ridiculous.
Can you take a gazebo solo for me?
A regular size kazoo, guys. It's really loud. It hurts my ears.
Don't aim it at me.
That's ridiculous.
Just to get a level.
Where's the rosin? Is it in there?
Don't have it. Maybe in your stuff. I know it was.
Maybe I have it. I did just rosin it though, so.
Yeah. There you go. Yes.
Rosin.
You want? I'll keep it. So I'll know where it is.
No, I'll keep it. I'm just not used to having my own rosin.
Well, it's not your own rosin. It's our rosin. It's the rosin.
We're gonna be live in 30 seconds.
Singular, the singular rosin. It's the rosin we have.
So then is it rosin? Rosin? Hey Chris. We have some fellow beautists watching. And we are live on Austin Music TV, live from Austin, Texas, from our home to yours. Just a few musicians here. We're gonna play this.
Yes, the thrill of live television. I know these are divisive times.
Divisive time.
Yes, and you might feel these are unprecedented times.
Unprecedented times.
But there's still places where we can all agree. Things are like, you know, tacos are good and
And rosin is good.
rosin is good, yes. And
Makeup was great today. I have really bad masking. Masking is what you get when you wear a mask, and then you look like you're 12.
that's all it takes. It's a great age-reducing method. But,
Shout out to Sheila.
Jeff Blankenhorn, and with a sentiment that I hope that we can all get behind, because it's a weird situation we find ourselves in today. I know that perhaps you haven't been watching the news, and if you haven't been watching the news, I wouldn't suggest it. But it's pretty traumatic and all, and let's enjoy ourselves today and talk about the things that really matter, and that would be live music.
Live music and community.
And a brand new year.
And a brand new year.
Yes.
So Guy and I decided to take this month off because we want to stop, pay attention to what's going on, what's working, what's not working, and restructure this show. So we're only going to be broadcasting on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. for the month of January. Not sure what we'll do after that. But please come here at 9. We really, we hope to have an audience. That's the reason we do all this. But the new show that we are going to be doing is going to involve some teammates. And we picked a few people that we feel are really involved in the Austin music community. They've lived here in Austin. They pay their taxes here in Austin. And we want them to come onto this show and be a part of it. So today we're going to be introducing them to you. And the first person that we have is Jacqueline Graham, which I'm actually going to let you kind of tell us about her because you've known her a long time.
Sure. Jackie is well, she's many things, but I first met her as an actress when I first moved to Austin, where I did some theater, and I've known her for over 30 years, although you'd never think that if you got a good look at her, because you obviously think she's only like about 28 or something like that. And she is a deep thinker and an old soul, and she has a perspective that I find very valuable.
Yeah. So with this segment with Jackie, which we'll talk more in depth here in just a minute, we're going to be asking watchers to write in and kind of give us some questions, give us some things. If you'd like to be on the show with Jackie, we can make that happen too. And yeah, here we go. This is Miss Jacqueline Graham. Here with Jacqueline Graham, a longtime best friend of my husband, Guy, and I'm just getting to know her. She is a longtime Austin resident. She is a professional Quaintrail, a personal Kinsu Kroi project, and an entropy expert. She's a mother and a wife and a creative, your voiceover actress, and recently stepped down from a longtime position in corporate America to follow her dreams of voiceover and music. And she's going to be our host of this segment that we're calling A Different Point of View. Hi, Jacqueline.
Hi, Jessica. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm really excited to have you here. Another girl on the show.
Yay! In this male-dominated field, it's nice to have and such a talented. I love your music. It's just wonderful. Your voice is incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love watching you play. With your little high heels and your boots and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
It's just awesome.
An overachieving fashionista. You can't turn it off without me. I just look up like this. It's just.
Oh,
I'm excited about you and having you here, and we're going to have a segment featuring you that I'm giving you creative liberty to kind of do whatever you wish for it to be. Let's see what creative birth this segment takes, and just tell us a little bit about what you see it being. I know we talked about conversations.
Well, for me, I've always enjoyed talking about life, talking about how people live their lives and the point of view that they have. Entropy expert comes from, believe it or not, me being a housewife for a long period of time. Entropy, is a process of constant chaos. It's where there's a constant decay. And I used to joke about the fact that, I'd do all the dishes and I'd turn around and then I'd turn back and there'd be a huge bunch of dishes there. And it's like it never ended. So I became an entropy expert as a housewife. And I came to realize that life in itself, in every aspect of it, is a form of entropy. It's what we were talking about earlier with the Buddhist philosophy. The glass is already broken. It's looking at things in a constant state of change as a natural thing, as opposed to, desperately trying to hold on to something and unnaturally keep it exactly the same way it was. That's stagnation. That's living in some stagnant, awful pond that is just feeding off of itself and growing more and more nasty crap. So you have to let the flow of life go through you. You have to clean all that out and be willing to accept the new that comes to you and the blessings that are potentially in that new. You don't have the old stuff anymore, but it's not taken from you. You have the memories, you have the experience, you have everything that came from that. And then you're moving on to something new that's going to be just as wonderful. So, I love looking at life. I love looking at people. Watching is my favorite sport. I watch them anytime I'm out in public. Driving, oh my God, you can tell so much from people by how they drive. Do they let people in front of them? Do they try and force them to do something else? Do they ride their bumper and be bullies? Do they sit their ass in the fast lane and never get out? It's like, what? You can look at that and say, oh, you are this kind of person and you're that kind of person. And oh my gosh, because people show their truest selves when they think it's free and it's easy. So on that note, I believe people when they show me who they are the first time. If you're rude to a server, if you're rude on the road, I've got a good insight into who you are really, because people show who they are with all the walls down when they're angry. And so I watch people when they're angry because that shows me where the respect for other people ends. So all of this I kind of put together into my own personal philosophy. And I love talking to people. So if people have a life situation, if there's something that they want a breakdown of from another point of view, send it in to us. And I'll be happy to talk about any of that and give my look-see into what's going on. Right now we're all going through such a difficult time in so many ways. So many people are dealing with things that they've never dealt with before. Isolation, losses of loved ones, all of these things I've gone through in my life. You'll get to know me a little bit better. I've got a lot of stories to tell. And,
it's amazing. I'm sorry to interject, but good God, you've been through so much. I admire your will to not only live but live happily and to continue moving forward. I have cats coming out of the walls apparently. You even recently had brain surgery,
mm-hmm.
and you lost a son, and you changed positions in the working field, and you exude such positivity and inner light. And I'm excited to have you here, because it's like our therapy session on the show every week. Our
Yeah.
healing corner.
Well, we can learn to surf the chaos wave together. Yeah, that's all we're doing is we're learning to keep our balance, to find our roots, the things that are ourselves at core, so we can always count on that. And we know no matter what happens, we're going to be okay. It's all a part of life's big dance. And so, sometimes it sounds like there's wrong notes in there. Sometimes, there's beautiful harmonies, but it's all a part of the composition. And you have to learn to respect and take in all of it. So it's training your ear to hear the music of life.
Sure. If people would like to be a speaking guest on here, if they have something they'd like to talk philosophy or life
Hmm.
with you, what is the best
Yes.
email address for them to reach you at?
Jacqueline Graham dot voice. It's JACQUELYN
And you'll see it right here
V.
at the bottom of your screen. Right there.
Yeah, GRAHAM, just like the cracker, dot voice at gmail.com. So I have a little blog site, grahamcrackers.org as well. I need to get on there and write some more. I've written a few things on there. I'm a terrible smart aleck. So,
I like it.
but yeah, but feel free to write to me and tell me what's going on, and I can talk to you, or I can talk to Jessica here, or you can, if you feel like it, possibly come on and we can discuss things. Um, the world isn't just one way. It never is. And the point of view, just because you've decided that that's reality, just because you have taken it in and found a logical structure in that particular way of interpreting the situation, doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only way of looking at it. We are so hard on ourselves personally. We really are. And, I was telling Jessica just a little bit ago that kicking yourself is a piss poor way to get exercise. And so many of us do that on a daily basis. You wouldn't even be friends with somebody who talks to you the way that most of us talk to us in our head. I do it too. My dad's voice, I hear it, the ex-Marine. It's like,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
terrible to myself.
yeah. It's like, I hear this particular tone. I'll actually say my name in my head.
Well,
Jackie.
I have a very special bad name I like to call myself. But I've been trying to be nicer to myself the last few months. I attend therapy weekly, thank God.
Mm,
Um, and, um, and I've been kind of what you said, but the language I use is if I were 5-year-old me, how would I talk to me? How would
yeah.
I talk to
And,
a child?
and,
How would
and,
I need to be?
true. Very true. Because people look back as well. They look back at things they did when they were a kid, look back at things they did when they were teenagers, and judge it based on what they know now, and are hard on themselves based on knowledge that they didn't have at that time. They were doing the best they could. You know, everybody's doing the best they can at any given time. Again, we had a little talk, so she's hearing this again. But we don't wake up and say, "I want to screw up today. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do the dumbest thing I can think of. I'm gonna screw up today and I'm gonna succeed at it." No, we don't do that. We get up and we all hope things go well. We all hope for doing our best, is that doing our best is going to be enough. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you have to learn something. Sometimes you fall down. Everybody stubs their damn toe. We all do. And so we need to be a little more, understanding of people who make a habit of stubbing their toe, and be there and hold out a hand and say, "You know what? Doesn't that hurt? Doesn't that not feel good? Why don't you walk this way for a little while and see if that feels better?"
Change your
So,
shoes, maybe. Wear some closed-toed shoes.
yeah, little things can make a big difference. I'm still standing, able to take nourishment. Life is good. I'm out there. Yeah, well, I'm out there in the world and doing what I can, and doing what I can for others, because when you've been through the shit, the most important thing is to hold your hand back and say, here it is, you know, grab on, let's go. And, admitting to yourself and to others that you might be wrong about the way you're looking at things right now, and look for another way to see things.
I'm excited to see the natural birth of it, like
Hmm.
to see how it comes out. And I know I'm gonna enjoy getting to know you better. I think this will be fun. I think this will be fun. I'm excited to have you on the show. Really excited to have those opportunities to have you and Guy talking, because I know that will
Uh,
be like fireworks. and possibly have our friend Eric Schimmel on.
Yes.
And this is just wonderful. Thanks for wanting to participate in this. I think of
Oh,
it
thank you
as
so
a
much.
community building opportunity for all of us. I hope that we can build community. I hope that we can help others and make people feel less alone or more hopeful, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, because there is reason to hope. Yeah, there always is. And the thing again, something that Jessica and I talked about earlier is whatever you're going through, no matter what it is one day just going to be a story you tell about how you got through it. Keep that in mind, because this is not going to be your forever. This is not going to be the way it will always be to the end of your life. And you have that choice on what to do with the rest of your life. And you just may need to get through this tunnel right now, but eventually you will. And then you will tell people, this is what I did to get through it. And that'll be your own particular way of helping somebody out.
Yeah. Well, that was beautiful. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. I look forward to having you on next week.
Yay, I'm excited. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The best to everybody.
There's some deep thoughts, and now some music. Ready?
Yeah.
There are snakes around my trailer. I found a scorpion in my bed. Snakes around my trailer. Found a scorpion in my bed.
band members. We have Nevada Newman.
The mighty Nevada.
The mighty Nevada. And Nevada and you are going to be doing a little thing together, which, yeah, we'll just see that. We'll just, yeah, here. That, boop, boop,
Yeah,
boop,
do the thing.
boop, boop.
I'm Guy Forsyth, and we are talking to my friend Nevada Newman. Nevada Newman was seated in the guitar chair of the Asylum Street Spankers when the Asylum Street Spankers had their first 10-year anniversary show. We did a DVD of that performance, and I was thrilled to see such a capable pilot of the National Resonator guitar in the guitar seat of the Asylum Street Spankers. That's my buddy Nevada. So Nevada and I have a plan. We are going to focus on playing the roots music of Texas, the music that's in the public domain that is part of the Texas musical experience. Nevada, do you have any favorite Texas musicians that you like?
Oh, the list goes on and on. Everybody knows that Bob Wills is king. Mance Lipscomb. We were talking about guitar players a minute ago. Mance Lipscomb, he just came to mind. That's, how do you go wrong there?
Yeah, a great song.
T-Bone Walker, Blind Lemon Jefferson.
So
there's plenty.
And so we're going to share a different song by a different artist each week and play it. Try to do it justice and show where the music of Texas comes from. That might be it.
We should get suggestions from people. Anyone has ideas of things maybe we don't know about.
Yeah, that's great, because we're always trying to find out more about music and specifically the origins and the roots of what we love. And so if you have an artist that you think we might be unaware of or that you are especially excited about, let us know. And we can research them and find out the right song to share.
Yeah, Nevada. I love him.
And that's going to be a lot of fun to do, because I love playing with Nevada, and he knows a million songs, and there's a story behind every one.
So if any of you have any input you want to do, that was the little email there on the screen.
That little email.
And I'd like to say hi to Alicia, who's watching on YouTube. She says she likes my hair.
You have nice hair.
And I'd just like to say thanks. So here's a song I wrote. Sheila, hey girl. Hey Deb.
Hey, Sheila.
Yeah. People that are watching, if you're in Austin, Texas, you can watch on channel 16 live from Austin Music TV here. And up next we have Patrick, who is a wonderful asset to this community. Here with Patrick Buchta. He is a longtime Austin musician right here in Austin, Texas. Patrick is on the board of Austin Texas Musician. He is a founder of that as well, I believe. Patrick, 9 years ago or so, had a life-altering thing happen. He had to get a liver transplant. It made him rethink everything. He decided he wanted to work hard for his community, and I'm really excited to introduce Patrick to you guys right here on the Forsyth Show. Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Jessica. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, this is just really exciting for me. You know, sitting here at the house deciding who I should ask to participate, you and Nakia and the foundation that you guys have, top of the list. So I was just so excited when you decided to say yes. And yeah, I'm just going to let you, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and the foundation?
Sure, yeah. You know, Austin Texas Musicians is a advocacy nonprofit here in Austin, where we have a very simple mission. We want to serve as the trusted voice for Austin music, and that means we advocate for musicians on city, state, and federal policy. And then since COVID, that's come to mean so many other things as we try to serve our music community as best we can. So,
well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you guys a slot on the show that Guy and I were given, because I really think it's important to give you a platform for the things that you're working towards.
Thank you.
I know that you have really experienced some positive change because of the work that you all are doing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Nakia and I, well, maybe I can give a little history here, but Nakia started a private Facebook group here in Austin just for Austin musicians about 12 years ago. And that grew and grew until finally, he had, I think, around 3,000 members. And he realized, there was an overwhelming voice in there to do more, to, try to advocate for change with the city. And, he realized, I think at that time, that we needed a more organized effort to do that. And it was about that time that I reconnected with Nakia. I actually met Nakia way back in 2003 when he was working in the Apple store and demonstrating a product to me. And, we kept in touch over the years. And, we got connected again. And I said, look, this is something I want to help with. At that point, I had a ton of experience in community service, nonprofit work, in marketing. And, this looked like the right way to marry all my skills and abilities and desire to help my community. So we got moving. The first project we got involved in was getting the live music fund for musicians, which is actually the first ever sustainable public funding for music in the city of Austin. I know it's crazy to say that, but it just didn't exist in that way before. And these monies come out of the hotel occupancy taxes. So we were able to get musicians to show up and vote for this thing in November of 2019. And it was at that point we realized that musicians really have the largest political voice in the city, larger than the police union and the fire union put together. And it was just a matter of helping musicians realize their power and realize that all they had to do was show up and participate. So since then, COVID hit, and we've expanded in a lot of ways, and we can talk a bit more about that in a moment.
Oh, you guys have been just so helpful during the pandemic, which is honestly why I have been paying such close attention to the things that you have been doing. I'm lucky enough to be a member of Austin Music Pro, which is like a little subdivision of the thing that you're doing for professional musicians in Austin. And I just think the work you're doing is so important. And it's my hope that you, Sonia, and Nakia can use this little snippet of the show to get the information to people on maybe another way, a better avenue, people that might not have heard it before.
Absolutely. Thank you. You and Guy have such a great show that you guys do with this thing, and such great reach, and the community really respects what you guys do. So we're happy to have this platform to share. So thank you for that.
So Patrick, you experienced a life-altering thing. Was it like 9 years ago?
Yeah.
That just made you realize that you needed to stop, refocus, and move forward in a different way. I'd love to let our audience hear a little bit about you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I was born with, a really rare liver disease, and that, really ruled pretty much the first 40 years of my life. I was really, really sick as a little child, and even died coughing up blood at age 25. And, it's been a tough go. And I moved to Austin to play music, and I used to headline at Steamboat and all these other places downtown that maybe don't even exist anymore, but I was really active in the scene here at that time. And as I got sicker, I had to kind of walk away from music for a while, for about 12, 14 years. In fact. And, finally, when I had the liver transplant, I woke up from that experience, and I don't think it's uncommon to want to give back and pay it forward. But, for me, I wanted to do that in the biggest ways possible. And so, at that time I was working at KVU Television, and I became their community service manager, and did a lot of other nonprofit work along the way. And then when this opportunity came up with Nikia, I saw a way to kind of bring my worlds together to serve my tribe, music and musicians. And about that same time, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, I started to write again, and all that stuff that I couldn't process when I was really, really sick and dying, finally started to come out. It's like the floodgates opened, and I've written hundreds of songs within the last few years, and now I'm just at the point where I need to start to publish them and get them out there. But yeah, I'm just grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to have this opportunity to write, to be a musician again, and also to use this, I guess, gift that I've been given with the second life. To serve. I often think, like this extra time that I have, the second life that I have, it's not really my time. It was a time that was given to me. And so I have to use that time to give back in every way.
I understand all of that. I've had a couple scary bouts with cancer.
Yes, you have.
And so I think maybe we're going along the same lines, we are community builders.
Yep.
And that is what at the forefront of my heart I wish for this show to be. This is a nonprofit. It is a community television station, or the channel, really. Yep. And we're not getting paid to do this. We're doing this because we care.
Right.
And so if people out there decide they care and they want to get in touch with you and they want to maybe be a member of Austin Texas Musician, or maybe someone wants to run for the board, or maybe how can they find you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our handle is ATX Musicians. And then you can always send me an email, pat@austintexasmusicians.org. We will be taking applications for new musicians advisory panels here within the next month. And, that's been a great way for musicians to really get involved and organized and give back to the community. We really just try to, work in that way as a platform for musicians who want to give back and to serve. We provide ways for them to do that. And so, one of the ways I like to say with the Musicians Advisory Panel, we, have all these great different committees, like a fair pay committee, where we've been able to work with the union to determine fair pay scales and, inform some best practices for venues. We have a votes committee that's signed up 700 new voters in Travis County for last year's election.
Oh, yay, Georgia!
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Big news today,
Georgia!
right? Yeah. And then, we have our REACH committee, which is representative of African American, Latin, Asian, LGBTQ, and women musicians to bring those voices to the table and bring those voices up to City Hall and make sure that we have some equitable changes in city policy.
That's beautiful. Especially knowing that all of this is just volunteer work. I mean, just the endless number of hours that you and Nakia, and you guys don't half-ass it. I don't know another word for that. You don't.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say half-ass it. You don't. I see your flyers. I see the things you send out. You send out mailers, and everything is beautifully done. You put time into the things that you're putting out, and I appreciate it. So.
Well, thank you. It's it's more than a full-time job, and as executive director, I feel like it's my duty to the community to get, there's so many things going on in the music community right now that need our attention. And so, I've got to do this job, but there's a way to do it, and as long as we have humility and a true heart for service, then we're always going to be successful, I think, in that way.
Sure. So this is Patrick Buchta. What you can expect from this portion every week is one of the members of Austin Texas Musician Board, or someone just within the community. If you want to have someone else talk, that's just fine. They're going to be using this as a platform to get information to Austin Texas musicians, or even just to members of the community that might not realize what's going on in the world of musicianship or the arts here in Austin. I've given them just creative liberty to do whatever they want with this segment. Sometimes it'll be me and Pat talking. Sometimes it might be Pat and someone else. If one of them have a musician that they just really feel that they would like to lift up in the community, they're welcome to play their music. I just want this to be a really beautiful place that people can come together and get information and celebrate the reason that you're doing it, which is music.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you so much, Jeska. We're really looking forward to doing this with you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Patrick. There's not really any words that can describe how important it is to have something like that in this city. Absolutely.
Your advocacy helps all of us in the music community and everybody who loves music, because it will create a climate that it's possible to have the live music that we love. So thank you so much for your hard work. Now on to what I think is definitely my favorite segment, which is Danimal Johnson, one of the scariest steel guitar players you'll ever hear, and also a true music Jedi.
Here with Dan Johnson. He's a 7th generation musician. He started playing music at 7 years old. He grew up on the road. He's worked with names such as Chad Thomas and the Crazy Kings, John Evans Band, Hank Williams III. He started working with Jackson Taylor, Ernest Tuff's nephew, Lucky Tuffs, and you can see him on Amazon Prime, on Amazon Live at Billy Bob's. This is Dan Johnson, aka Danimal.
Hello.
Hey. Really excited to have you as part of the show. And I was just introing you, and I'm sure people are already curious. So you're a lifer,
Oh, totally.
Yeah, you've lived in Austin, I think you said, for about 15 years now.
Roughly about 15 years off and on, back and forth to Houston.
You're not originally from Austin.
No, originally my whole family comes from Michigan, and I was the one kid that was born in Florida, because believe it or not, my parents moved down to help build Disney World. And so
we're friends.
Yeah, I know. So, and I was born basically at Disney World in Orlando, that whole area. And then they moved out and lived in Virginia and just a couple of Kentucky for a little bit. But then the family all went back to Michigan. And then when I was about 8 years old, moved to Texas, originally Austin, and then to Houston, where my dad worked at a golf pro shop. Basically grew up in Houston and learned how to play music in Houston, and that's where most of my family today lives. But I moved to Austin. It's just easier to be touring out of Austin. If I wanted to make a record, I could throw a rock and hit a studio or hit a musician or find artwork for my albums or get my CDs made. Whatever I needed was in Houston, or in Austin, actually. So yeah.
So you were playing pedal steel, right? Or lap steel?
No, originally I was a guitar player for about 15 years, but I'm learning disabled. I'm ambidextrous, and so I have my right hand has dexterity, and my father kind of forced me to be a right-handed guitar player. I should have been a lefty. And because of that, I couldn't do a lot of the fancy shred guitar stuff. And so I just got fed up with it. And I was in punk rock bands and surf bands. I was always a good slide guitar player. And so I eventually moved that into playing dobro, and that into lap steel, and that into pedal steel. And that's where I kind of shine, because as a steel player, if you're right-handed, your right hand dexterity is what you need. Left hand really matter, so.
But you didn't always play pedal. You used to play in the Chad and John and Hank band, and then you got sick.
Yeah, I was originally, I started playing in a rockabilly band, and Chad Thomas and the Crazy Kings, and they had an ad. This is actually pretty funny. They had an ad in the Houston Press for wanted, new guitar player. And I'd worked with Chad. He'd booked another band I was in, a little punk band, and I'd made really good money with him. So I was like, oh, here's my chance to be in his band. If I made good money working with him that way, I'll be able to make better money. So it was financial at first, but also musically, I liked what he was doing. It was very rockabilly, Elvis, Carl Perkins, very cool music. So I tried out and I failed. The first edition as a guitar player bombed. And so then I for some reason stewed and would stare at this ad on my coffee table, just look at it like there's got to be a way. And one day I actually read past the guitar player wanted part, and it said also wanted piano and pedal steel. And I was like, well, my father had left me these dobros. So I called him back and tried out again as a dobro player, which for those people who don't know, a resonator guitar is an acoustic lap steel, basically. And I tried out a second time and I failed that. And then the guys in the band said, look, we like you. You really want to do this. If you go buy a steel guitar, then you can join the band. That's what happened. So, and luckily for me, the only person in Houston, this was before YouTube, there weren't any guitar centers. There's 5 music stores in town. Everybody told me there's this one old timer that played for Bob Wills named Herb Remington. He can give you a lesson. And I went to him and I did. I bought a guitar, and with the guitar came one free lesson. And that's how I started lap steel. And so then I played lap steel for probably, I'd say 6 years, 5, 6 years, maybe that, 5, 6, 7 years. And on the road with Hank, I got sick. I got a staph infection, which it's like, the most heartbreaking thing. One of the most heartbreaking things I've ever been through is to get sick on the road when you finally landed that gig and it's over, like I'm opening for Dwight Yoakam and I'm just sick as a dog. I'm on the Jumbotron and my skin's green. I'm so sick. And it took me off the road. I lost my job. And that's kind of where the real story started. Little did I know that tragedy would change my life in a really good direction, because it made me, it gave me a chance to see what the rest of the world was doing as steel guitar goes. And the rest of the world was playing pedal steel, where the pedals change the notes, and you can form notes with your feet, your knees, your hands. It's more machine than instrument, but I just decided, well, this is what the majority of guys are doing. I need to step up on that playing field. And so I did. And when I did, unfortunately, I had to go all the way back down the ladder and just play with just whoever would have me. And all of my Hank 3 past didn't really matter to these people. They were in a different world where they didn't really care. But that helped, And so eventually I worked my way up the ladder until I ended up with Jackson Taylor. And that Jackson Taylor in the Centers was the gig that really forged me as a pedal steel guy. I can't deny it. That's what happened. So, and then I went to Europe and toured and made records, and had a couple hits, and so that's the story as it goes.
Good story, really, Dan.
Yeah.
So I met you in Austin. I'm new to Austin. I've been here. I don't even think I've been here 3 whole years, although it seems like a million to me already.
Mm-hmm.
But I met you through Hector Ward. You
Yes.
are in the Honeysuckle Sage Band.
I am. Yes, with you.
And now we're all kind of regrouping and making all these new little side projects. And I think
that's how it should be. It should be.
it should. I know that me, you, and Guy are talking about putting together a resonator band.
Yeah, I so hope that happens. That'll be so epic.
I mean, I think it already has happened. We just have to make a list of songs to practice. It's kind of spread its little veins out into so many different things.
It has.
Even right here, even me approaching you to do this, which I enjoy your personality, and I think that you have a huge knowledge of music and the way things work, and a lot of stuff that people may never have even thought of or heard of, which is why I wanted you to have a little Dan segment.
Yeah, I get a lot of text calls that I didn't expect I would. I think it's because I have a wide taste of music, and I've done a lot of different kinds of music and been in the different scenarios live and recording and made a bunch of records. So I get people from all walks of life. I get the mother who has the 13-year-old daughter that wants to play bass, and I get the guy that he's a great guitar player, but he has no concept of how to read music. And so I kind of think this is a good forum for me to tell people that it doesn't matter. If you can play, you can play. You don't need a lot of money. You just have to have some know-how and look and find the information. And if you play guitar, there's all these other things that you can do that you're probably not aware of, and so, yeah, I think it's a good thing for, I don't want to focus on the reading and the charts and this and that. There's enough of that. There's enough of that in the world that I don't need to chime in on it. But I want to help the local guy that, because of the pandemic, he lost his job, but he's got a guitar, and he's got to figure out a way how to make a little bit of money. I want to talk to that guy. I want to help that guy or that woman or help their kids or whatever. If they want to pick it up and learn it, whether they're pro or a weekend warrior, there's no shame in weekend warriors. Some of my best friends are weekend warriors, and they admit it. And so, yeah, I just figured this would be a good opportunity for me to talk to those people or help those people out, give them a little info.
I think that it'll be fun. You could just talk about things that you want to talk about until we start getting you a little following. And then if you out there, viewers, right there, if you have a question, if you have something that you're curious about that you might not have the answers to, and you'd like an actual real life musician to give you the answers instead of Googling it, you can shoot us an email and we can have Dan cover that. And I think that'd be just fine. Dan just today figured out how to do Zoom. So
I'm in the world of
just opened up.
My whole world has opened up now because of Zoom. Thanks to you, Jessica. You showed me the way.
I'm going to succeed now.
So everything
if people want to send you an email, if they would like to have you consider their question for an episode, how best could they get a hold of you?
Through Facebook, or my personal email is kind of long, but
right here on the screen.
Okay, it's very long, but you will remember it. I guarantee you. My email is Dan Johnson, JOHNSON, Dan Johnson, pedal, PEDAL, guitar, Dan Johnson, pedal steel guitar. Sorry about that. At yahoo.com. And I also want to say, down on yourself or feel bad if you have a question you're like, I don't know if I want to ask me, because I go and I help all the time. I answer questions. I spend a lot of my time, believe it or not, talking to people, answering questions about music.
I always text Dan, help me, what do you?
So it's like I said, to me, it's just part of my life. And if anyone has a question, no question is too big, too small. If I can answer, cool. If I can't, I'm not the end all be all, but I know a lot of stuff. I can help, so don't feel shy or be ashamed or whatever, ask away.
It takes a bunch of people. It takes a community.
It does.
What my hope for this show is for us to be community builders, community leaders. You're one of the last I'm interviewing before I go to the editing table, and I didn't do it on purpose, but there is a beautiful underlying story here. I have had bouts with cancer and overcome it, which made me want to move to Austin to be a musician. Jackie, who's going to be giving philosophy advice, she has had brain surgery. She's overcome so many things in her life. You experienced what you had septic, right?
Yeah,
and had to drop out. And Patrick, he has had to have a liver transplant, and he decided to overcome. All of us in this show have had something extremely traumatic happen, which has made us stop, listen, and reroute what we want our life to look like. And I just have full body chills. I think it's beautiful, and I'm excited to see where all of this goes.
Definitely. Because that's the thing, is sometimes these things happen to you. You're like, why is this happening? I just was getting where I wanted to be. And then a couple things happen that change your path, and you realize, oh, this is why this happened. You don't
know. You can't see it all until it's hindsight.
You can't see it all. It's too big to see sometimes. That you have to have a little faith that it's going to work out, and that just because you went through it once doesn't mean you won't go through it again. And how do I cope with it? How do I deal with it? And so, yeah. That's all part of the growth. A lot of times it still happens today when something happens and I'm like, why did that happen? And then now I look back and go, oh, I'm glad that didn't happen that way, because it would have changed this or this. Mm-hmm. So there's always a reason, it seems, for the most part,
If you have any questions or a subject that you're interested in learning more about, you can learn more right here. Boop, 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 boop. Dan Johnson. And we're looking for an incredibly catchy and clever title for Dan's show. Danimal, Dan, and just the unusual amount of knowledge you have.
Big brain, can't help it.
Thanks for being here, Dan. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, and anybody out there, like I said, ask a question, ask away. Thank you, Jessica.
Well, there you go.
That's it. Really good hearing Dan speak, and I'm looking forward to his other insights in the future. That will be a lot of fun. Yeah. Well, the show's over on the television channel, but we'll do one more song for you because you're here with us. He's keeping